Top news for today, October 5, 2020. A Pulse Asia survey shows President Duterte is the most trusted government official. As schools reopen under the new normal, President Duterte commends DEPED for the successful opening of classes. Around 200,000 Filipinos are repatriated amid the COVID-19 pandemic. And more tourists register in Baguio's online app. Good day, I'm Rom Dulfo. Welcome to PNA Newsroom. Thank you for joining us. Our top story, a new survey by the Pulse Asia shows President Rodrigo Duterte has scored the highest approval rating among the 5 top government officials amid the raging pandemic. In a survey conducted last September 14 to 20, 91% of Filipinos approve and are aware of President Duterte being the top national official and are satisfied with his performance. This means 9 out of 10 Filipinos trust and approve the president. He is followed by the Senate President Vicente Soto III with 84% and House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano with 70%. Meanwhile, Vice President Daniel Robredo gets 57% and Supreme Court Chief Justice Josado Peralta gets 44% approval rating. For the trust rating, President Duterte gets another 91%, followed by Senator Vicente Soto III at 79%, Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano at 67%, Vice President Daniel Robredo at 50%, and Supreme Court Chief Justice Josado Peralta at 39%.
Maraming salamat po sa taong bayang Pilipino na ang trust at ang performance rating po ng ating presidente ay napakataas at 91%. Pangako po talaga ng presidente, gagawin niyang lahat para makabangon po tayo sa pandemyang ito at isasantabi po talaga niya ang politika. Lahat po ng Pilipino, supporter niya, kalaban niya, iaahon po niya hanggat maaari sa kahirapan na dinulot ng pandemya. Ang panawagan po ulit ng presidente sa lahat ng politiko, isantabi muna natin yan, 2022 pa po yan, tulungan natin ang ating mga kababayan.
As the government scaled up efforts to bring home distressed Filipinos amid the COVID-19 pandemic, the DFA says it has repatriated more than 200,000 overseas Filipinos. As of yesterday, the DFA reported that it has brought home 204,481 overseas Filipinos from all over the world. Of the number, 2/3 are land-based, while 1/3 are sea-based. The DFA assures that they will continue to facilitate repatriation flights to bring home overseas Filipinos wherever they are in the world. The DFA is also undertaking goodwill missions like bringing relief goods for the Filipino community in Lebanon and donating medical supplies to Lebanese hospitals and non-governmental organizations which have been taking care of Filipinos in Lebanon. DEPED Secretary Leonor Briones claims victory as classes open today amid the pandemic. DEPED earlier assured they will extend their assistance to parents and students to cope with the online blended mode of learning.
With such a huge army of supporters and benefactors, victory is assured for education, COVID-19 natural disasters notwithstanding. Tama na yung debate kung magbubukas ba o hindi. Tama na yung mga maraming usap-usapan. We must be united in thought, sabi ni Andres. This is the time to show that we have our own sentiments, we have honor, we have shame, and we have solidarity.
Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte commended the Education Department for pushing through with the opening of classes despite the COVID-19 pandemic.
I commend the Department of Education and its partners for guiding all stakeholders to make this happen. May this school year be marked with strong hopes and optimism that effective learning will take place, even amidst the odds and challenges. Together, let us work to achieve a more informed, enlightened, inspired citizenry, starting with our children.
Schools all over the country welcomed the opening of classes today by coming up with measures taken to carry out the blended learning system. Here's our report.
Preparations have been made by 20 school division offices in Central Luzon to welcome the almost 3 million enrolled learners. DEPED Central Luzon made sure that teachers are equipped in implementing the different modalities through various training. They were also provided with psychosocial interventions to face various challenges amid the pandemic. In Eastern Visayas, public schools adopted the distance learning using the printed or digitized modules as primary learning modality. Eastern Visayas has over 1.3 million learners, which include the students of the alternative learning system. It also has the highest enrollment among the 16 regions in the country. In Pampanga, teachers in an upland village in Porac addressed the distance learning barrier by bringing learning modalities to the Ita community. The program benefited 511 learners from elementary to high school with the use of improvised motor trikes, which Itas call kolong-kolong. Aside from the learning materials, the motorized trike has television with recorded instructional videos for the students. For the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo.
The Department of Education has released the interim guidelines on assessment and grading learners for the assessment of student learning and on grading schemes to be adopted this school year. Under the guideline, assessment should be holistic and authentic. It should be integral for understanding student learning and development. There should be a variety of strategies that will promote growth and mastery. Assessment and feedback should be a shared responsibility among teachers, learners, and their families. And assessment and grading should have a positive impact on learning. Let us take a look on how teachers, students, and their families welcomed the opening of classes under the new normal. Here in our Boses ng Masa.
Hindi naman po nagkaroon ng problem ang connection at dahil po sa mga paghahanda na ginawa po ng mga teachers, nagkaroon ng simulation at ganoon din po sa mga orientation. Well, guided po ako bilang isang magulang para dito sa online class na ito.
Tutuwa nga po ako kasi nakisama ko yun kanina kahit nagahang. At magpapasalamat din po ako sa mga guro na nandiyan, nag-aalalay, nagre-remind po sa amin lagi para matuto rin po yung mga anak po namin. Lalo na po sa DEPED, salamat po ako dahil nandiyan po na gumawa po sila ng paraan para matuto po rin po yung bata kahit nandito lang din po sa bahay.
Isa sa mga naging suliranin ay ang connection ng internet at ang mga technical problems pagdating sa pag-play ng mga PowerPoint presentations at video. Pero ganun pa man, dahil sa mga modules na naihanda ng paaralan at ng Division Office, ay magiging sapat ito upang ipagpatuloy ng mga bata ang kanilang pag-aaral.
Sa unang araw ng klase ay, yes, success. Lalong-lalo na po si Wi-Fi connection, nakisama. At mas madali po bilang magulang dahil bago magsimula yung final klase, na orient na kami ni advisor. May mga ginawa kaming online simulation class, kaya bilang paghahanda. Kaya kanina pa maswerte kami na may mga advisor kami na nandyan.
Ang hirap ng online class, gaya niyan, o ng subject pa lang nila. Wala ng teacher, hindi alam kung wala signal ang teacher. Hanggang sa matapos na lang ang oras nila.
First day nila okay naman, pero konting improve pa po.
Still to come, more tourists register in Baguio's online app, and the Anti-Red Tape Authority, or ARTA, strengthens the ease of doing business by tying up with a business group. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat, mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
Welcome back to PNA Newsroom. Thank you for joining us. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque joined dozens of tourists who visited the recently reopened Boracay Island over the weekend. On Sunday afternoon, Roque shared a photo of himself sitting by the shore of the famous beach island on his official Facebook account. Last Friday, Roque said he will hold his regular palace press briefing on Monday from Boracay to help attract more tourists. He said President Rodrigo Duterte may visit the top tourist destination in the near future. Roque earlier said the reopening of Boracay would support tourism industry workers and businesses amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Boracay started welcoming tourists last October 1 after months of closure. At least 1,200 prospective tourists have registered in the online tourist assistance portal of Baguio City a few days after the summer capital reopened its borders to tourists on October 1. In an advisory, engineer Aloysius Mapalo said as of Saturday, 107 of the registrants made travel requests and also uploaded the requirements. There were also approved travel requests for November and December. Prospective tourists must have a confirmed booking with a tour agency and an authorized accommodation establishment. A swab test result is also required. Tourists also need to propose an itinerary subject to the approval of the city government. Once approved, an individual or QR code will be sent to the tourist, which will serve as a pass to the border checkpoint borders. Mapalo reiterates that do-it-yourself travel, visiting a friend or relative, or going to the public market is not allowed. The LTFRB in Region 9 is set to launch the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program or PUVMP in Pangasinan City on October 9. LTFRB 9 Director Nonito Llanos III said 10 manufacturers of modern vehicles and 40 transport cooperatives from the different parts of the region will participate in the launch of the PUVMP. The manufacturers will showcase modern and mini buses like the ones servicing Taguig City and Metro Manila. Cooperatives or corporations can take advantage of applying for loans that offer very minimal interest rates and payable in 7 years. Liano said the LTFRB requested the different local government units to draw a local public transport route plan with a specific route for each cooperative. He said the modernization program will help protect the environment while providing a sustained livelihood to the stakeholders in the transport industry. In business, the Anti-Red Tape Authority or ARTA signed a partnership with the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry or PCCI to boost the ease of doing business and eliminate red tape in the government. The Memorandum of Understanding was ratified in a meeting of the Ease of Doing Business and Anti-Red Tape Advisory Council on September 30. Under the MOU, ARTA shall authorize PCCI to receive complaints from the business sector for any violation of RA 11032 or the Ease of Doing Business Act. PCCI shall also promote and raise awareness of ARTA programs through webinars, information campaigns, and public consultations. Among the agreement's main points are the establishment of communication channels to better handle private sector complaints, improve information dissemination, and encourage feedback for ARTA. Up next, the National Bureau of Investigation may soon be relocated in the north. And let us take a look at a beneficiary of Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program who now owns a business. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng coronavirus disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
The National Bureau of Investigation is soon moving some of its offices to New Clark City as part of government efforts to decongest Metro Manila. The NBI signed a deal with the Bases Conversion and Development Authority, or BCDA, and MTD Clark regarding plans to move some of its offices to New Clark City's National Government Administrative Center, or NGAC. Among the offices to be located in New Clark City include NBI's International Forensics, Biometrics and Research Center, Training Academy, Regional Office and Data Center. NGAC Phase 1 Joint Venture President Patrick Nicolas David said the NBI facilities will be located in a 7-story building just across the New Clark City Aquatics Center. For his part, NBI OIC Director Eric Distor hailed the NGAC for providing a state-of-the-art building to various government agencies such as the NBI. An indigenous people's leader and 2 of his companions were killed on Sunday afternoon by suspected communist rebels in Lianga, Surigao del Sur. Dato Hawudon Jumar Bucales of the Manobo tribe, along with 7 others, were reportedly traveling to Barangay San Isidro when they were allegedly ambushed by around 20 armed men. 2 others were also wounded in the attack. Bucales is the indigenous people mandatory representative of Lianga, who supported the passage of the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020. Bucales previously released statements against the New People's Army and party list groups and led the closure of Lumad schools in Surigao del Sur. Last Saturday, a relative of Dato Rico Maca, also one of NDF-LCAC's supporters, identified as Ariel Guinsod Maca, was also killed. With the Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program, a beneficiary can now start his own business. Details from Sol Alarcon.
Edwin Baldo, one of the 33 beneficiaries of the Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program of the government, has expressed his gratitude for the 8 sacks of rice and weighing scale received from the government. According to him, by this benefaction, he can now start his vending business. Aside from the beneficiaries, Senator Bongo, Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello, Courts 8 and BP2 Chair Secretary Edgardo del Rosario, who was represented by Director Miles Rivera, Dole 8 Regional Director Yaya Senti, and Leyte Governor Leopoldo Domenico Pitilla participated in the virtual awards.
Ang Balik Probinsya naman ay hindi naman ito basta nagkakapag ng mga constituents pauwi sa mga probinsya. We have also to make sure na pagbalik dito sa mga provinces, we turn them into very productive members of our society.
Leyte was selected as the pilot province for the Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program of the government, aimed at helping those struggling to make a life in Metro Manila to go home instead and start anew with their own business and earn a living. For the PNA Newsroom, Sol Alarcon, Philippine Information Agency, Eastern Visayas.
Classes pushed through in Occidental Mindoro despite the 5.4 magnitude earthquake that rocked the province early Monday. In a statement, the Department of Education said Occidental Mindoro Governor Eduardo Gadiano declared there will be no suspension of classes as the province suffered no major damage. It noted that the distribution of learning modules in the province was also completed 3 days before the opening of classes. A magnitude 5.6 earthquake jolted Occidental Mindoro and parts of Luzon around 2 a.m. Monday. The epicenter was located 31 kilometers northeast of Looc, with a depth of 121 kilometers. The quake was felt as far as Metro Manila, Bulacan, and Batangas. As several businesses shut down due to the COVID-19 pandemic, a civil engineering graduate took the risk and decided to open one up. The Baguio Korean mini mart owned by 21-year-old Thomas Jason Ferrer had its soft opening in Barangay Santa Lucia, Pasig City. Ferrer saw the lockdowns as an opportunity to sell Korean food products. He undertook all the processes in setting up the business, from balancing income and expenses to procuring supplies. He also made sure the store complies with health and safety standards by conducting temperature checks, providing hand sanitizers and alcohol, and ensuring round-the-clock sanitation. Ferrer is managing the mini-mart while preparing for the licensure examinations. He said he knows how risky it is to start a business, but knowing what customers need now rather than before the pandemic is important. Take one more look at today's biggest stories. A Pulse Asia survey shows President Duterte is the most trusted government official. As schools reopen under the new normal, President Duterte commends DEPED for the successful opening of classes. Around 200,000 Filipinos are repatriated amid the COVID-19 pandemic. And more tourists register in Baguio's online app. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, check our webpage or head to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government, how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags on our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from PNA Newsroom. I am Rom Dulfo. Good day and stay safe.